أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اجعل بي بارا ولسارا وشكارا ورزقي دارا وأولادي أبرارا واجعل لي عند قبر نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مستقرا وقرارا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء، تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووصم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم، كما قال عز شأن كل شيء خالق إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت، وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزب عنه معاصي العباد في الخلوات. سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد. فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه، يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء. تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل. ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين. من ركب سفينتهم نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق. وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. فقد قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه الصلاة والسلام: إن كان في الغافلين كتب في الذاكرين وإن كان في الذاكرين لم يكتب من الغافلين. صلوات بيجي محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The discussion that I wanted to open up today in this khutbah of Juma, in this sermon, is in reference to how a lot of time the society influences us, and we, not just as children, feel peer pressure. As adults, we also fall victim to this peer pressuring. And that leads to us becoming heedless and oblivious. In this segment, Amir al-Mu'mineen says that even if he is found, those who are pious, those who forget Allah, if he is found among those who forget Allah, this pious person is counted amongst those who remember him. So therefore, if I'm ever amongst those who can care less for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who care nothing for God and the existence of God, who may not even believe in God, But even if I'm amongst them, what does this segment tell you? It tells you that they have zero influence on me. Rather, if anything, I will be influencing them. But if he is amongst those who remember God, he is not counted amongst those who are forgetful. We see that in this segment of the sermon, Imam mentions two very important attributes of those who are muttaqeen. That the pious is always who keeps God in his perspective, and nothing can stop him from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say, well, that happens to us as well. We try and keep God in perspective, and we try and do things which do not lead us to being heedless and oblivious of our God and our Creator. Now that is to say, we'll mention some examples how this phenomena is widespread. Even if this person is among those who are oblivious of God, as is the case for many of you who work in the corporate field, and not necessarily all of those who you're working with are believe in God, let alone follower of another divine religion. They may not believe in God at all. And so that comes a lot when it comes to your lifestyle, when it comes to you acquainting with those who are your, for example, co-workers. He said either they don't believe in him or they are forgetful because something else has occupied their minds. These co-workers, these colleagues, maybe in your school, if those who are in school and colleges, their roommates or their classmates, there are many reasons why they care very little for their Creator. Maybe they don't know about it at all, or they don't want to know about it, or whatever the reason may be, that something else has occupied their minds. A pious person does the opposite in the company of heedless. He's not only remembering Allah himself, but he tries to remind others of God as well. So at that point, your duty becomes twice as much. Instead of going in your own shell and going with the flow of what is happening over there, you actually have the courage to speak out and remind them of the one and almighty God and the belief in the wahdaniyat and the oneness of God. Here we find another beautiful tradition from our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, which will give you encouragement. If you haven't done this, so it'll give you encouragement. It'll make you feel good about it if you have stood up before. And if you haven't, it will give you that encouragement and it'll give you that insight as well. Imam says, "Ad-dakiru lillahi azza wa jal fil ghafilin kal muqatil fil muharibin." This is in Al-Kafi. He says, the one who remembers God in the midst of heedless people is like the one who performs jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala amongst the warriors. So, you and I will, hopefully will never have this opportunity to be in actual battlefield. But that is to say, we're not facing battlefield on daily basis. When you are amongst those who don't believe in what you believe in. And even not only believing is one thing, they may even mock at what you believe in. Therefore, having the courage to stand up to the extent where it is not considered to be stupidity, where you find yourself to be alone in the midst of all of those. No, where you can raise your voice, this is a jihad for you. This is a person who is amongst those who remember God in the midst of those who are heedless or who care less about God. It's someone like muqatil fil muharibin. This person like the one who does jihad amongst the warriors. In a similar tradition, the Holy Prophet said to Abu Dhar, the one who remembers God in the midst of ignorant and heedless is like the one who fights in the way of Allah in the midst of those who are fleeing the scene of battlefield. So you're fighting while people are running away from the scene of battlefield. Now, many of these examples were given because there were a lot of wars and the battles that had taken place in the early days of Islam, and hence it made more sense. But it makes sense to us as well because we live in a society where we are facing this sort of jihad on every single day. And that's why it is worth mentioning and repeating that incident when a battalion had come back after having performed, a jihad. And Rasulullah obviously did not take part in that one. And so he was waiting for them. And as soon as they arrived, he said what? Marhaba biqawmin qadawu jihad al-asghar wa baqiya alayhim jihad al-akbar. Welcome to the group who just performed minor struggle, minor jihad, and a major jihad awaits them. People said, oh Prophet, we almost gave our lives over there. What could be bigger than that? He said jihad bin nafs. That which you'll have to do with your own soul over here when you are amongst other fellow members of your society, or even amongst those who are heedless or who are forgetful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Juma was revealed while many people were ignoring the call of the prayer. So from going from the discussion of those who are not believers at all to those who are in the realm of Islam, who were praying behind Rasulullah, who were attending the prayers. But when it came to this, salat, and it came to trade, they preferred trade over salat. So therefore, this ayat was revealed in Surah Jum'ah, was revealed while many people were ignoring the call of the prayer. Adhan was being said, people wouldn't pay attention, or Prophet was leading the prayer, and they would hear the call of a merchant, that some new merchandise has been brought in, and they would leave Prophet standing in the prayer by himself. When this occurrence, happened quite so often, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this chapter known as Surah Jum'ah. It's specifically that ayat which talks about those who left Prophet stranded. So you imagine, yes, there's an emergency, you run off, nothing wrong with that. Even in i'tikaf, you're allowed to go when there's an emergency. You run off when there's, no, but when there is nothing of that sort, you're preferring trade over what? Over salat. So we see the ayat which says, وَإِذَا رَأَوْا تِجَارَةً أَوْ لَهْوًا انْفَضُّوا إِلَيْهَا وَتَرَكُوكَ قَائِمًا. That when they sight a deal or a diversion, they scatter off towards it and leave you standing. So Rasulullah was standing and they would go ahead and leave. Islam, from this ayat, now I don't know how you looked at this ayat. The ayat, I'll repeat it and I'll let you think about it for one moment. We read this ayat almost every Friday. It says, when they sight a deal or a diversion, they scatter off towards it and leave you standing. O those who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. That, O you who have faith, when the call is made for prayer on Friday, hurry towards the remembrance of Allah and leave all business. Look at it from this perspective. You hear this ayat all the time. This shows the proactive nature of Islam. That Islam is not, this ayat is not calling you from your homes and from your beds. That when you hear the call of adhan, leave your beds and leave your houses and come to masjid. Especially on Friday. إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ. Especially on Friday, when you hear the call of adhan, that's why you have these minarets, right? And the adhan is sounded. In Muslim countries, you hear the sound of adhan even when you're at work or when you're at your house. You can hear the sound of adhan. Or for those who have gone for ziyarat, you're in your hotel room and you can hear the sound of adhan. It doesn't happen over here, but you can relate to it. That how Islam is proactive, that it's not saying that you should be at home resting or lazy in your beds when the call of Jummah Salat is being said. So that you leave your beds and you come towards Salat. No, you should be busy in your work. You should be busy with your trade, your business, whatever it is that you have a 9-to-5 job, you should be busy over there and then leave that when you hear the sound of adhan and come for Jummah Salat. That's the proactive nature of Islam that is being mentioned over here. Firstly, it exhorts people to engage into business. It's not saying, remain at home on Jummah. Take the entire day off. Now, I don't know how, well, in Muslim countries, Jummah is considered to be a holiday. But this is not what the ayat of Quran is telling you. That you should now work on Fridays. Maybe this ayat was revealed for those who lived in this country or the countries where Friday was not a holiday. Because according to this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, go to work and then from work come to Friday prayers. There's more jihad in it than just being lazy at home and not being at work. So it says, firstly, it exhorts people to engage into business. And secondly, it doesn't expect them to be taking a day off on Friday because the verse didn't say that. It said when the call of prayer comes, leave your homes. Didn't say that, leave your beds. Didn't say that, leave your businesses and leave your places of work and then come toward Salat. Hurry towards the remembrance of Allah and leave all business aside. Therefore, Islam is not a religion for those who are lazy. Instead, Islam is a religion for those who are active. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There's a separate ayat for those who are lazy. Surah Nisa 142 talks about it. And obviously this doesn't affect those who are retired. You worked all your life. So yes, you are retired and you're home now. And you're home at Fridays. Maybe you're in your bed. Maybe you have a schedule. Nothing wrong with that. It's speaking in general that Islam does not consider you to be, on Fridays, if you're not retired, to not be working. No, you should be working. Or even if you're retired, you should be doing something which keeps you active and which keeps you moving. But there's a separate ayat for those who are what? Those who are, weak, or those who are lazy. As far as that is concerned, Surah Nisa 142 says, the hypocrites try to deceive God. Yes, they try to deceive God, but He, in fact, deceives them. They stand up in prayer lazily, just to show that they are praying. But in truth, they remember God very little. So there are people amongst those who are praying, they would stand up for salah. So that means what? They're Muslim. They're the followers of the religion. But they are what? They are the ones who are a hypocrite. That's where you cannot spot a munafiq. Because munafiq is standing with you and he's performing the salah. Yet, he's very lazy when it comes to salah. The ayat of Quran says, وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى. Kusala means, kasla, the one who's very, very lazy. Showing laziness when it comes to salah. Now, I won't be able to tell someone being lazy. Yes, I may be able to tell by their body language, but Allah knows because alimun bidat as-sudur. He's aware of what is hidden inside the hearts of individuals. So one of the attributes of the pious is that they are active in the midst of those who are ignorant and those who are heedless. Today in our society, we see people easily make the excuse when they say, how can we be practicing Muslim? How can we perform salat on time? How can we do this? Or how can we keep up with all of those things that are expected of us as a Muslim? Especially in the younger generation, you see that more than you see that in the older generation. Now, how can we practice Muslim means? Well, amongst those who are unbelievers. All the things that we see around us has nothing to do with the religion, and they follow their own customs and rules. How can we practice our religion amid those who call it a virus, for example? Not only that they don't follow it, but they're critical of our religion as well. How can we pray when no one around us is praying? Yes, at workplace, no one around you is praying. How is it possible for me to remain pure when everyone in my surrounding is polluted and corrupted? It's very difficult. When you are in a clean and healthy environment, yes, it'll naturally come to you and you'll be clean and healthy as well. But the moment you step into a polluted, corrupted place, it is possible that that corruption and that pollution will overcome you, right? You'll be a victim to that. So all of these are valid questions, and therefore someone can ask. But because you have that determination, you've seen both best of both, or both countries that you've lived in back home over here, and you've seen growing up, and you've seen where there was Islam all around, and there was very little Islam, for example. So you may be able to cope with this. But the generation that is growing up over here, who's only seen this part of the world and can only relate to this part of the world, how will they be able to cope with such things, or how would they will be able to understand this concept? Although the environment is bad, and this is the message to them. Although the environment is bad and social elements are effective, but it's not an excuse which will be accepted by Allah tomorrow. Now that's one way of answering, right? That who do you want to please? Your peers, your friends, your colleagues, or do you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We can try and keep God in our perspective always, to the extent that it affects even those who are heedless around us. Why should we fall under their influence when we are more than capable of influencing them with which we believe in? Because what they believe in, which is obviously nothing, if it's atheism, or if it's non-religion, whatever you may want to call it, that is very shallow understanding that they have about it. They have very little understanding about it. There isn't no understanding of it. They just believe in it because it's a custom and a norm of the society. But what you believe in is firm, has solid backing and understanding, has proofs and evidences. So compare something which is shallow and has zero backing or strong understanding, as opposed to something which has solid proofs and evidence along with it. So definitely you should feel that there is haqq and there is batil over there. And if you're not being, obviously surrounded by many and it is not considered to be stupidity and bravery rather, then yes, you should be able to influence those who are in your surroundings. Be those who are trend setters. And obviously I'm speaking to the younger crowd. Be those in your schools and colleges and universities and campuses, those who are trend setters, instead of becoming those who follow the trends that have been already set for them. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So when they can be so strong and steadfast on their falsehood, why can't you be strong and steadfast on that which is truth? This reminds me of the kalam of Amir al-Mu'mineen when he spoke to his own companions. And he said, I will trade 10 of my people with one of Muawiyah's. Right? These are the words of Imam. He said, I'll trade my 10 with one of theirs. Imam, what does that mean? That means the way people had betrayed Imam, right? He was speaking after that betrayal. He said, I'm ready to trade one person from their army, Amir Sham's army, with 10 of my own. And when he was asked the reason behind it, he said, because these 10 who know that I am on haqq, still they're going to betray me. Though that one who knows that Muawiyah is on batil is still loyal to him. That loyalty, even though he knows that he's on falsehood, is superior to those who are with me, knowing that I am on truth, yet they are betraying me. So I'm ready to trade 1 of 10 of mine with one of theirs. This is where we see how when falsehood can prevail and it could be so strong, then why can't the truth, overtake that and be stronger above that? Therefore, there are many reasons, there are many things which keep us from all of this, and they keep us heedless and ignorant. And there are ayat of Quran every step of the way that explain. I'll go through it very quickly as I'm running out of my time. We read in Surah Ma'idah 91, it says, Shaitan wants to induce hostility and hatred among you through wine and gambling, and to prevent you from remembering God and prayer. Will you then avoid such things? The reason you see the society that we live in, your colleagues, maybe your classmates, for example, the culture that they live in, there are two things that prevail. One is alcohol, and second is gambling. Right? Ever since New Jersey also legalized gambling, now that's even a bigger problem. That if you're a resident of New York, you can come to New Jersey and you can gamble. It is okay for you. But if you're trading and if you're gambling over there in New York, it's illegal still. So these two things, Quran points out it very clearly. That shaitan induces hostility through wine and gambling. And you see that is something which is prevalent today. Unfortunate part is that some of us also fall victim to this wine and gambling as well. Especially the youth who find and see that, haven't understood thoroughly the damages of it, the difficulties of it, the consequences of it. Now, I'm not going to go into the medical aspect of it. You can find that information out, online better yourself, and you're more equipped with it. And we'll leave that discussion to those who are professionals in this field regarding the medical aspect of drinking and even psychological aspect of gambling. We'll leave that aspect to those who are professionals. But Islam here is speaking about what? The spiritual consequences and the effects that it leads to. First and foremost, the Quran counts is that when shaitan induces hostility through what? Through wine and gambling, first and foremost he's trying to do is keep you from dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if he can keep you away from the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then every other maneuvering would be easy, and leading you to any other path will become that much easy. So, salat in general and Juma in particular can keep one away from being distracted from the above mentioned. Yes, how is it going to keep us away from wine and gambling? Yes, for time being that you're present in this Jum'ah, or you come to this gathering, or when you are in such a gathering where fellow Muslimin and Mu'mineen, and you hear some words from Quran and Hadith, and you stand amongst those who are praying, that ambience itself will provide certain solidarity to you, by which you'll be able to deter these challenges that lie ahead of you. So very quickly, the importance of Jum'ah. We've heard a great deal about it, but just very quickly how important this Jum'ah is. Sometimes we overlook it, and sometimes other things come in the way. While Quran says what? It says, وَإِذَا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. When the call of the prayer on Jummah comes to you, leave all the business alone and come to your salat. I mentioned this earlier. It's not saying come from your homes or from your beds. No, you should be working, and from work, leave that business and come and attend this Jummah. So when the Prophet ascended to Mi'raj, he witnessed that angels were seeking forgiveness for those who attend Juma prayers and perform ghusl on Friday. It said, and they say, Allahumma ghfir lilladhina yahdharuna salat al-Jum'ah, Allahumma ghfir lilladhina yaghtasiluna yawm al-Jum'ah. The Prophet said that these angels, when I ascended to Mi'raj, they were making this dua that, oh Allah, forgive those who are present in Salatul Jum'ah and forgive those who have performed the ghusl of Salatul Jum'ah or the day of Jum'ah. This is one of the benefits of attending Salatul Jum'ah. Number two, Jum'ah has a special place in Islam. And there are many narrations which point out the attention towards it. Prophet said Friday is the leader of other days and has a special place in the sight of Allah. Friday is the day of helping the poor and the deprived. Our hadiths exhort us to do sadaqah and infaq, especially on Friday. Jummah is considered to be an Eid for Muslimin. There's an Eid which comes every week for you, even though it may be Friday the 13th and it may be considered, nahus or evil in this part of the world, but there's no such thing as that. No, there's no nahusat attached with Friday the 13th or Friday for that matter. Friday will remain as an Eid and Friday will remain prosperous for you. The occultation of Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, he will also come its end on Friday, and Imam alayhi salatu wasalam will do his khuruj, yakhruju qa'imuna yawm al-jumu'ah. So he will also come back on this day of Friday. And Friday is considered to be equal in weight to Hajj. We read in tradition, it says, alayka bil jumu'ati fa innaha hajjul masakin. Perform this Jumu'ah. Make sure that you attend the Jumu'ah. Why? Because Jumu'ah is considered to be the Hajj for those who are masakin, those who are destitute. Because they don't have the means to perform Hajj because it costs money. Therefore, come and be present in Jumu'ah as if you have performed what? You perform Hajj. So this gives you an opportunity every week to be able to perform Hajj. Friday is so important that we read in a tradition from Imam that Imam ﷺ said that prepared people to get ready from Thursday, that start getting ready for this Friday. And he started exhorting people even from Shab Jummah. That's why we have this program for Laylatul Jum'ah. Moreover, they advise people not to eat anything on Thursday which might lead to their weakness on Friday, which will not enable them to go ahead and attend Salatul Jummah. So much emphasis has been laid as far as Jummah and Friday is concerned. Now, how should you leave for Jummah? Or how should you come out of your houses? How should you leave the house? And how should you enter? There's tradition in that reference as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm done with the khutbah, just this last mention of how should you leave your house and how should you enter your house. A lot of time we pay very little attention towards these things. These are the minor things sometimes we overlook. And in just one word, I will explain without going into detail. It says from the tradition of Ma'sumin that when you enter your house, make sure you send salam. And even if no one is in the house, you still say, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. You recite this in your, after tashahud, you recite this in salam. So say Salamun alaykum even if people are home. And if people are not home, say Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. And once you enter the house, recite Qul huwallahu ahad once after you have entered inside the house. So there's nothing new that you need to learn when you're entering the house. Do this and you will find the reason behind it. It says, we read in a tradition, the reason behind this is that it will protect you as well as those who are not there from the shar and the evil of that which is around you. We also read in a tradition that when you're leaving the house, you should say, Bismillah, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, wa tawakkaltu ala Allah. Again, 3 words which you all know. Bismillah, you already know. La hawla wa la quwwata, you already know. And tawakkaltu ala Allah, you already know. It says, when a person says Bismillah, the angel says, you're provided guidance. When you say La hawla wa la quwwat, the angel says you're protected from all the evils. And when you say Tawakkaltu ala Allah, Allah is sufficient for you. Shaitan says, I cannot do anything to this individual who's in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So make a habit of entering the house and leaving the house in this particular way. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq and ability to perform the commands and the teachings of Masumeen alayhi salatu wassalam. Inna hasan al-hadith wa ablagh al-mu'idha kitabullahi a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته غضبه وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها فعن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد على معصية العباد إلا كرما وجودا وكلا كثرة الذنوب إلا عفوا وصفا نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لا طوف للعباد بجود والعباد المظلمين بحلم ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفي المظلمين بعثه رحمة للعالمين لكم أمر الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا لصفيه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين وبذرة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليه وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليه الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ماهي الآثار البدء والطغيان هادم أمية الشرك والنفاق حاسد فر البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام متصلة الليالي والأيام اللهم أجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا وكل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه وجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل على أمراء المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وأولف بالدرجات اللهم افعل بنا ما أنت أهل ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين اللهم اجعل ممن يذكرون فتنفع ذكر أن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم